everyone. Welcome to a new live stream episode of Anabaptist World. I'm here with special guest Gilberto Pérez. Hi, Gilberto. How are you doing?
Doing well, Juan. It's great to see you. Thank you so much for the invitation. It's good to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for being willing to participate in our live streams. And Gilberto Perez Jr. is based in Goshen, Indiana. He's a social worker, educator, and community leader known for advancing Latino inclusion and immigrant mental health. He serves as vice president for student life and Hispanic serving initiatives at Goshen College, where he has led efforts to achieve federal Hispanic serving institution status. Gilberto is a former city council member in Goshen and continues to be active in community through his support of young adults seeking leadership opportunities. So, Gilberto, we saw each other just recently at a convention in North Carolina. How are you recovering from that? I know you drove all the way from Goshen there and back.
Yeah, it was quite the trip. It was a great trip, as I was sharing a little earlier. Yeah, it gave me an opportunity to drive a lot, but at the same time, I had some really good time to think about things and had some good music, and it was a great trip. I really enjoyed myself. I was actually pretty tired at the end, but was relieved when I pulled into Goshen uh, when I did, and accident free and ticket free, and stayed within the speed limit there, just a little bit, maybe over, maybe. But yeah, it was a great experience. MeadowCon MCUSA convention was a delight. It was great to see a lot of people there, and it was great to see you too. I'm not sure if you published the video that you recorded of me because it probably wasn't the best one,
It
but
was published. It was published. Yeah.
okay, there we go.
Yeah, Gilberto and I have been long time friends. I met him in Goshen College in my time there. I think I did some sort of I worked for you for I don't quite remember what it was for, but I know that's where I met you in Goshen
Well,
College.
Juan, that's been a little while too, so I'm not sure if I remember what you did here in student life, but I imagine it was great.
Yeah,
It probably had something to do with communication and videos and something related to that area, since
yeah.
that's your profession, and you're doing real well at it. And so, I
Well,
congratulate
thank
you
you.
for
Thank
sure.
you, Gilberto.
Yep,
Well,
yep.
Gilberto, well, thank you for being here. I know you have some slides to share, so we
Yeah,
can carry on if you wish.
sure. Uh, Thank you for getting the opportunity to share, Juan. Anabaptist World it's a wonderful publication that really is telling stories of Anabaptists across the world, and it's just a wonderful opportunity to talk a little bit about what's happening at Goshen College as we think about uh, resilience and mental health, especially with our Hispanic Serving Institution designation. It's something that I'm tasked to do in some respect to jump in and connect with a lot of different areas across our campus around mental health. And so it's great this evening to share some of that work, but really to highlight in many ways the amazing work that our young people are doing here at Goshen College. I want to share with you some slides that sort of kind of speak to that. But before I do that, I wanted to go ahead and read to you the vision of Goshen College. And that vision is that here at the Goshen College, we'll cultivate joy, growth, and purpose, preparing students to thrive in life, leadership, and service. Rooted in the way of Jesus, we will seek inclusive community and transformative justice in all that we do. And we say that work for us, those first few words, which says we will cultivate joy, growth, and purpose. And those are the things that we're really engaged in with our students. But I think before I go there, you published a picture of me when you put out the announcement of this, and I think I should have sent you the one on the right, which kind of me smiling. Uh, I like to enjoy life. I like to be happy, and one of the things that I really enjoy doing is playing guitar. And so I know you're quite the musician yourself, and your brother Daniel and you folks have done some amazing music here at Goshen and beyond. And I do a little bit of music, not very much, but I just enjoy myself. And it's never a dull moment playing with my good friend from South Texas, from Alice, Texas, Sonny Carreño, an amazing musician and a person who has just given so much of his life to music here in our community. And so, yeah, I wanted to just make sure that you got that picture for me looking somewhat happy and maybe not as serious in that.
I was mentioning to Gilberto that we got some good comments in social media of the picture we used for promotion of this event because he looks like a presidential candidate.
Yep, we're not
So,
going there. But I'm really excited just to show you this picture that it's a
uh,
little happier and it gives a sense of, I think, kind of what we'll talk about today,
okay.
where we're seeing a lot of different things happening in our community. This work here at Goshen College could not be possible with a group of directors and student life team. Couldn't necessarily put all the pictures on here, but these are the folks that really are really helping to create a culture and an environment within our student life team and the rest of the team that you'll see in a little bit as well. But all the way from Chandler to Emily Hahn, to Patty Hartshorn, who is doing some work in health and wellness, and Sunitha Millsaps as our executive director of DI, and Chris Rapafus, who is our director of campus safety, and Emily. And even though she will be done here shortly, but we're just extremely excited, and I'm happy to recognize her work today. The team, as we're really putting things out in our campus community through the student life, it's just amazing to see how their commitment and their passion for working with students on many levels. It gives me peace in many ways of knowing that we're actually out there engaged with the campus community, with our students and student leaders, where we're seeing record number of students applying for student leadership positions. We're seeing record number of students engaged with our health and wellness. We have students who are, again, we'll look at it a little bit later, engaged in our sexual assault prevention and education advocacy work. We have students, our affinity groups, who are just engaged in multiple ways across our campus. And our campus safety is ensuring that this feels like a place where we can feel safe and we can feel like we belong. Participated in a workshop a few weeks ago with Saulo Padilla of MCC, immigration coordinator. He talked about safety pockets. And part of what I think we're attempting to do through this work with our student life team and all across the campus here at Goshen College is to create a safe and welcoming and inclusive and transformative, as it's said in the vision, in justice in all that we do. And so we hope that we can share some of that here today, and how students are resilient and they're showing some really signs of positive mental health. I also have another group of people that are just doing amazing work in the respective areas of the Hispanic Service Institution Committee of the HSI. Rocio Diaz is just an amazing champion for adult learners and has been on the forefront of this HSI work since the very beginning when that initial grant was received by the Lilly Endowment, where Rocio is just really full of energy and is just helping our students, adult learners, be engaged. And Dr. Cristobal Garza Gonzalez, who is our Spanish teacher, but is bringing Spanish theater, and is our LSU advisor. Heather Weeks, who are our director of admissions, who's just, again, doing amazing work with her team and transforming that team and helping them be more engaged, helping them be culturally sound herself, having lived in Mexico, bilingual. The majority of her team is bilingual and bicultural, and so it's just wonderful. And our new addition to Goshen College this past year, Jorge Montenegro, in our business department. He is just a star. He has been very well connected in community. just recently appointed to a commission by Mayor Gina Lichty here in Goshen. And these individuals really kind of work with me, and we work together to establish ways that we can promote HSI status. We're not about creating programs. We're not about building a lot of things. We're about actually promoting all the amazing things that are happening across the campus. And through President Stolzfus' direction, we're engaged in multiple areas across our community on campus, as well as externally, as we'll see a little bit later. This presentation is about resilience and mental health. So it'd be a miss if I wouldn't share with you who our campus counselors are. We have an amazing crew of people this year with Cristina Reyes, Jennifer Miller, and Amy Yoder Click, and Kiana Bowie, who was our MSW intern. And so we always champion our interns as much as we can, because they bring to us so much energy and creativity, and they bring us some stability within our work. And so Kiana's moved on and is now working at Oaklawn as a therapist there. And so it's pretty exciting. This coming year, we're actually welcoming 2 MSW interns. And so part of our work within our counseling centers, through the direction of Patty Hartshorn, is we're building leaders from our community and helping them see that at Goshen College, they can learn a lot of these things that social work students need to learn within their setting. One of the things that I thought we could just spend a little bit of time in, Juan, is, and your audience, is thinking about resilience and how that plays into the work. The definition there is really kind of talking about a process, and a process that is really about adapting to these significant the way that people respond to crises, or the way they respond to certain situations. A lot of the literature in past had a lot to do with individual traits. And so resilience was really kind of seen as this thing as, you can be mentally tough. You can you can walk your way out of this situation. You just have to call on your bootstraps, do the work, and because mentally you've got it, you can do this. And it's interesting, more recent research is actually showing that it's resilience, while it does have those individual traits, right? That makes total sense, and those are important factors that help individuals move forward. But the other is that these relationships with other people and the environment that surrounds you, right? So as we think about Goshen College, the transformative and justice that we want to see happen all across our campus community, all the way from accounting to folks who are at our marine biology station, to folks who are preparing for medical school, biology, social workers, nurses, teachers, graphic designers, all of these areas that art majors that are coming here, they're building relationships with people. And we're trying to create an environment through our staff and our employees all across the campus community that says, well, can we build something here that will actually be transformative for you, that will help you get some leadership as you're learning to be who you want to be and you're finding your identity? And then what are those protective factors or those buffers that might help you, those resources that might help you actually kind of push away some of those negative encounters that you might incur throughout your college experience? Because college is a really tough experience, right? And it doesn't help when you've got a lot of external factors that are moving and changing your life, new administrations that come in. You might have gotten a new job where you work. All of those things are changes that are happening in our students' lives and also our employees. So we're just trying to find ways to, as we think about resilience, is what are those relationships that students are actually building with one another? What are the social connections that are happening? And what are some protective factors that are out there? One of the works that was done here in our office by Emily Hahn and Peace Mohagachi and Patty Hartshorn these last couple of years, and help us understand the resilience and mental health is this idea of so we're on a continuum, right? And so Corey Keyes kind of brings to us on a situation here that it's a spectrum, right? It's not just you're mentally ill and that's it, and then you have mental illness and that's it. But what we're really trying to say here as we work with our students is that students can enter into many different spaces, across the spectrum that they're here, and in those spaces they might have mental illness, but they're still flourishing because people, it's been proven, it's been documented, it's been researched, it's been well stated that individuals who have mental illness can function as well as any other individual with the help of their medication, with their mindfulness work, with their therapy, with relationships, their spirituality, their health, eating a healthy diet. Individuals who experience mental illness, they actually thrive in many communities all across this country, all across the world. And so, but at the same time, there's a languishing that's kind of like, oh, it's just not going so well, and it feels like it's a little more challenging. But then we have folks who, on that mental health spectrum, who will flourish. They don't have a mental illness, but they might have a mental health challenge. They might have points where they might have, financial stress. They don't know how to manage their time well. They don't have enough mental health resources. They might have negative peer influences. They don't have mental illness, but they still have challenges in terms of how do they function, how do they perform, get up to class on time. So part of the work that Peace and Emily and Patty have been doing is helping us as a community understand, as students understand what's the spectrum of where we are with our ability to engage in community with others, and knowing that, as we know, college campuses and mental health for the last number of years have been challenging. COVID-19, the pandemic years were a big challenge. We had so much isolation. We had 6-foot distancing. We had a lot of mask wearing. We had a lot of things put in place to keep us safe, and they did in many respects. But at the same time, it happened that we kind of got a group of students all across the spectrum from K through 16 that, folks were more isolated and not as connected as they would have been prior to that. And we experienced that same thing here at Goshen College. And we felt as though we had to find ways to reconnect students as we came back after that initial shutdown. And then in the fall, attempting to put things together, our Res Life staff, just actually talking to Chandler this afternoon and really kind of understanding, wow, that year of pandemic was just extremely difficult. We had a pandemic task force. We were meeting weekly, and then at the beginning it was actually daily. And so trying to find ways that we could actually build a system here that would actually be supportive. And we ended up creating spaces where students, as they came back little by little, and a couple years later and 3 years later, we have this idea of resilience and community building and a culture of comunidad, or of community. And so part of what has actually been happening, what I love so much about this picture, is that it's a group of students who are gathering for a meal, and it's a meal to be together and to strengthen their relationships. So as we think about resilience and relationships, these social connections that are happening across campus are really demonstrating to us as an institution that if we create environments where we invite students and then we have students create these opportunities for engagement, they actually begin to thrive, and you see a number of things happening to students. So part of what we're attempting to do, and even through this presentation, one is to sort of share with you how we're building that culture of the inclusive, the transformative community, building that culture of ensuring that people feel safe and that they want to actually dive into who they are and what they're doing. And so we're really engaging our students to think very, very seriously and deeply about who they are and who they can become. And so part of our leadership framework under Chickering's perspective of thinking of theory of student development theory is, what is it about the culture that we're in that, what do I need to learn in terms of competence? What do I need to learn in terms of interpersonal relationships? What do I need to know in terms of that identity, my purpose of where I want to be, and what's the integrity they might have in all that process? And so we're creating culturally events, relevant events, where Dr. Cristobal Gonzalez has created Nuevas Tamaleras. A number of years ago, we had chocolatadas. The Latino Student Union organizes the Hispanic Heritage Month. We have fiestas, we have taquizas, which is tacos, right? We have potlucks, as you would have seen a little bit ago, and students get together for dancing, right? Because we really believe that if we create that environment where their cultures can be celebrated, it gives an opportunity for individuals in this campus, in this community, to actually feel as though they're welcome. And you're seeing it across not just our Latino students, but other student groups who are just engaged with one another in that. We have gone so far as we have a champion in our music center, in our community center there, Hillary Harder, coming up with a conversation that she and I had about mariachi music, and lo and behold, she's able to launch a mariachi group with students from Goshen College, students from the middle school, and students from the community, or individuals from the community. And so it's a celebration of music that really speaks to the heart, el corazón, right? This is music that really grabs you. It's got everything in there, right? From love to affairs to just, peace and joy and everything of what mariachi music is. And Hillary has now connected with another group of students in Elkhart who are now developing their own mariachi group, and they're all high school students. And now we have a mariachi festival coming up with Community Pro Education and Wabash College in a partnership, and Indiana Mariachi Project. All of these individuals, the Community Foundation of Elkhart County, who is helping us to make this happen, bringing people together to celebrate the culture and their ethnic identity through music. We're also seeing how students are being resilient in leader formation. Over the number of years, our Latino students have entered into these leadership positions. So it's been wonderful to see how they are leading other students. Javier Reyes, who is our president, Carmen Merino, who is one of our at-large members, and Richard Figueroa, who is also our treasurer this past year, Jalen Amdar, who served as our VP for marketing, and Ash Albahal, who also served as one of our senators for the work that we're doing. So a very diverse Senate body that is leading students, and they've gotten tremendous response from the student body, and they're engaged in community, and seeing them lead in times of difficulty has just been absolutely amazing. We're seeing that leaders are sharing leadership. So the picture with Jakira, Kennedy, Marisa, and Isis, it's actually Black Student Union leadership. And so Jakira and Kennedy were the BSU leaders at that time, and they came together with Mariela and Isis together to find ways to connect their groups. And Mariela and Isis became part of the BSU leadership, and they just did an amazing job of leading together in that space. And Alejandro Barrera, who is a communication student who works for our TV station and the Globe Radio, has got his own program. He's interviewing Pedro Guerrero, the direct president and CEO of Hispanic Executive, that we invited to Goshen College. And again, we gave him an opportunity. He took the opportunity to interview Pedro and just ask some really tough questions. And Pedro said, I don't think I've been interviewed by somebody that difficult in quite a long time. And so it's really a leader formation in how they're building. We're also seeing that we have students who are breaking barriers in sexual assault prevention. And Orlando actually says, I joined PIN, which is a Prevention and Intervention Network, is a sexual assault prevention education group of our students. Student-led, and it says, I joined PIN because I want to be a voice to break the barriers in my culture as a Hispanic man and to reduce stigmas that are associated with relationship violence. It's just amazing to see how our students and our Latino students are actually jumping into these particular opportunities that are led by just amazing staff here in our community, and to see that they want to join because they want to be a part of a group of people who are passionate about making our campus a safe community and informed community, Fernando Daza is also saying those things as Orlando. Building that community really takes sort of strength, right? And it takes others, right? As we see this picture of Penn leaders and staff and faculty who are supporters of our students, it's just powerful to see the ways that particular work and the work moving forward as we enter this new academic year is continuing to grow. We're actually finding that our students are wanting to use their skills of language. And so our students are being trained to be interpreters in schools, and they're being hired. And so therefore, their skill, their ability to speak another language is actually benefiting others. And it's also benefiting them for experience and could potentially help them think about an actual role in this particular field in the future. We're also, through Rocio's leadership, we're just seeing some amazing outcomes with our students who are adult learners. They're engaged in language learning. I used to work in another organization, and there were folks that would say, Latinos, they're not interested in learning English. They want to come here and they work, and that's all they do, and they don't really want to learn English. And I say, well, if I can show you this picture, if I would take you to Ligonier, Indiana, where we would have had folks really engaged in a lot of learning, you would see that the resilience of, even though the adversity of trying to learn a new language, you still have folks who are signing up and they're saying, I want to learn that language. And I want to also tell stories. And so just a few weeks ago, we would have had Lourdes Hurtado from Telemundo here and asking us about what is our experience being an HSI? How do we cope with new executive orders that have actually come that could potentially impact Hispanic serving institutions? And the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities, Dr. Antonio Flores there, are trying to lead the way and helping us to understand how we actually live in a particular climate that may see HSIs as, well, we need to sort of think about potentially reducing funding, et cetera, et cetera. And as we approached our students, they were just so willing to actually come forward and tell a story about how they're experiencing life here at Goshen College and how their parents are experiencing being in community in a new political environment, and what are ways that they're coping. And one of the students actually said in the interview, I think what we're learning here at Goshen College is that we don't have to be afraid of the world. The world has so much to teach us. And if we have opportunities to engage, then we'll be better people and we'll be able to help more people. And so the ways that students are telling their stories through this particular medium, but also with one another, it's just powerful and amazing that it becomes this, right? So there were a group of students soon after the new administration came in. They decided that they wanted to be a presence to students who might feel as though they're maybe unsafe or their families are not doing well, etc. And the students created a group called Voces Fuertes, Strong Voices. And Voces Fuertes is an advocacy group. It's a student organization that supports other students. They have participated in Know Your Rights workshop. They are building community here. They're inviting others. And so as much that this community building of Voces Fuertes has actually moved out into community. And so we're now in contact. They are in contact with Ivy Tech students, where community college students who are also interested in doing some things. On August 8th, the students are planning a Know Your Rights workshop. So again, it's another way that we see that students in their community building here, and their resilience and their mental health, in the way of staying positive in the midst of changes. We can actually see many, many ways that they are engaged. We as an institution are embarking on a faith journey, as we are a faith-based institution. And our president this past academic year spent some time in retreat and really brought forward to us as an institution a faith formation model that is what's called being oriented to love. And as I was working with one of the students in our leadership program, I read the different areas, and it said, you are seen and known and treated with dignity in this community. And the student said, that right there actually hits me. That's the most important thing that I'm getting from this faith formation. And so part of what we're hoping to do this coming year with our campus pastor, Jen Shank, is to find ways to help students develop spiritual practices and know that they are gifted individuals and that they can become more aware of who they are and they can care and love other people just as God loves them. I want to share a few quotes from some students. This student said, I community when I hear people's stories and how we all go through so many different things, sometimes even similar things, but at the end, we can sit together and have a conversation, share some laughs, and enjoy the things we like. That's what gives me hope. And when I think about creating that environment of resilience, creating that positive mental health, it's these types of experiences that students are having as they're telling us how they're experiencing Goshen College and their relationships with the community. Another student says, I like being around people a lot. I've learned to also enjoy some me time, but being with my family and close friends makes me feel good. Another says, meeting new people and having meaningful conversations with them. When I say meaningful, I mean conversations beyond the how are you and what's up. I also feel like sharing a meal with someone also makes me feel better. I think those spaces where students are engaging in conversation, they have an opportunity to build relationships. And this student says, as we think about how family impacts, I will always say this, that everything I do in my life is to make my mom proud. She sacrificed many things in her life to raise me and my three siblings. So I want us to live a life that reflects her sacrifice and love for us. Every win I earn is for her. And in the end, this mindset also allows me to push myself and do my best in everything I do. And one more here. What keeps me going, especially in these stressful times, is my family, my dreams, and a strong will to want to come out of the other side on these issues that affect us today. It's important to me to hear from the people I love that I'm doing the right thing in educating myself and that I will be able to overcome challenges when I'm able to do that myself. And the idea of dreams and how we can become community by committing ourselves to other people despite circumstances that may impact us and that our dreams actually can come true. And one final here is exercise is incredibly important as the endorphins and self-improvement make me more confident in myself and helps me deal with stress tremendously. I think actually I have one more. Allowing myself to feel my emotions and then understanding them later perhaps helps me grow as a person instead of trying to avoid my emotions outright. This sort of emotional procedure has helped me understand myself a lot, and I've been able to be more proactive in everything I've done in terms of potentially avoiding some of that stress and panic. And again, the students are saying, I find breaks and I connect with students and I feel as though these types of things help me overcome potentially building some new habits. Part of our retention work that we've seen this past fall to spring is our overall student retention has been 93% with our Latino students, our BIPOC students, 91%. Our overall students from fall to spring was 92%. And we are finding that these opportunities really help us, build a community, one that really is about resilience. Got some adverse things happening, but they're really fully engaged with one another, and they're building community and those social connections that we're really excited about here at Goshen College.
Yeah, well, thank you, Gilberto, so much for that presentation. I wanted to ask you, what are some of the unique challenges that Latino students at Goshen College face in maintaining their mental health, especially now, Gilberto, with the political climate, being in some way persecuted, maybe some members of their families, their parents. How do they deal with that? How do Latino students in Goshen College deal with those issues and try to maintain their mental health? What have you seen so far?
Well, the beautiful thing that I've actually seen, Juan, is through these slides, is that the students are actually engaging one another in conversation. So Voces Fuertes,
Mhm.
well, that's a fully student-led organization, and they have said to themselves, we will stand up and we will stand with other students. And so even though the challenges of potentially fear, uh,
Mhm.
anxiety, maybe depressed, maybe panic, panic attacks, and those types of things that, they might have racing thoughts. They might not be able to concentrate as much in class. But what we're actually seeing with our students is that those challenges of the fear, et cetera, the way they're overcoming those challenges is by actually being together, is actually being more united, is creating events that actually bring people together. It's going to the community and actually being a part of community protests that are sort of expressing their voice of free speech, right? So folks can do that. That's not a problem. That our students are saying we want to be a part of that, right?
Right.
We do have students then who do seek counseling service because we have data that says does not identify them, but it just says who they are in terms of their racial makeup and so forth. And we see that more students of color are seeking out mental health services, and we say that's great, right? So that's just part of making sure that you're a resilient person, that you can actually, as one of those slides early slides said, the resources that are available to you.
Yeah.
I think that's what I am seeing, and what we as staff are seeing so much, that yes, the climate is challenging. Yes, it's hard to see those images on television. Yes, it's hard to see those things on social media that might have that actually portray individuals as lawbreakers or people who are engaged in activities that they're not supposed to. But again, our students are saying we want to be resilient. We want to have our voices be together. We want to have strong voices, and we want to lift up others along the way. So that's the beauty of it, is not just the individual,
Yeah.
right? So the research says it's about relationships, about connections. And I think we're really seeing some very positive connections that students are making with one another.
And Gilberto, on that note, how can faculty, non-Latino faculty, and peers better contribute to a mentally healthy and inclusive campus for
Yeah.
Latinos?
Yeah,
How
well,
do you think?
it's been amazing that that has been happening naturally. We have a very dedicated faculty and staff, and we have a very compassionate group of students that are not Latino, right? And so I've seen that in ways where they're, white students or African American students or international students are showing up at their events to offer them support. So when Voces Fuertes launched their group, their student organization, they had over 75, 80 people that came, and the majority of those students were Latino, but then there were a whole other group of students who were just close to them. What I think I'm also seeing with faculty and staff through the HSI committee is faculty are being willing to listen to students and to work at accommodating particular schedules. If they might have to take their parents to Chicago for an appointment, immigration appointment, medical appointment. So those are the things that it's really beautiful to see, where students are showing up for one another, and then faculty and staff are also showing up for students, Latino students.
And finally, Gilberto, to close the conversation, what do you think? How do you see Goshen College in the next 5 years in terms of Latino students and their mental health? Do you think there will be new projects that can include more people of the community to invite them to Goshen College? What do you see in the community in the next 5 years, as you see that people are taking more initiative to take
Yep.
English classes, to join for young people to join Goshen College? What do you think in 5 years might shift, or what are the hopes for you?
Well, I think that the vision that we have at Goshen College right now is leading the way for us. And so when we think about cultivating joy, growth, purpose for leadership and service in community, I think that Goshen College will be represented even more so than what it is already, right? For the last 100 and some years, Latino students are graduating from Goshen College at high rates. and those Latino students are staying within a 50-mile to 60-mile radius. And so therefore, I think that in 5 years, you'll have more Latino graduates in our community who are contributing even more to what this Goshen community is. The city of Goshen will benefit from having these individuals and their families stay here. It's a community that is strong, that is stable, and it has support from members of our community in the different areas, right? And so I think in 5 years, Goshen College will continue to be thriving. It'll be an institution that is reaching multiple groups of students locally, but I think also nationally. We'll see that there will be more students coming to us here because they see that our faith formation and who we are, of being a beloved community, being a community that's in active learning and active love and an empowered community. I think those things um, attract people, because if we know that someone dignifies me, that someone sees me, that someone was working to understand me, is trying to provide me resources, and it has employees that are there to support me, um, as a campus pastor, as student life staff, as faculty, all of these individuals, you know, it just makes for a place that you want to be at. And the fact that we have record number of students entering into leadership positions, student leadership positions, I think it's demonstrating that the campus community is an environment where they feel as that they can contribute,
Mhm.
they can feel safe, they can feel like they're a part of this community, that they belong, and that in 5 years we'll just have even more of those students who want to be here because um, they'll grow and they'll have purpose and they'll have more integrity and
Right.
they'll have more interdependence.
Uh-huh.
And so that's, I think, what's exciting about what's going on at Goshen College through our president's, vision and our vision as a campus community, and everybody who is associated as to alumni who
Yeah.
are just our best champions, right? They support us in many ways in giving and volunteering, and I think the Goshen College community will be much stronger all across the country, and more students will actually come to Goshen College because we offer them that transformative experience.
Well, thank you, Gilberto, so much for your contributions to the Latino community, to your contributions here in the live stream. And we'll hope to catch you another time for to see how those projects are going. Maybe
Yeah.
you can share something in an article in Anabaptist World, but we'll be very happy to receive that information and be able to share the interesting projects that the Latino community has to offer in the Anabaptist community.
Thank you so much, Juan. It's a pleasure, and thank you for all the work you're doing in Anabaptist world. You're a rising young star within the Anabaptist community, and I just affirm everything that you bring to your community. So thanks.
Oh, thank you, Gilberto. See you
Yeah.
next time. Thank you,
Yes,
everyone.
sir.
Bye
Take
bye.
care.